Well, we hope everybody's well. We miss seeing you guys all here around the tasting room and coming by to visit. And, we hope your friends and family are doing well and staying safe and healthy. But considering the special this month, Adrian and I decided to go through all the new wines. 2 new wines for our value-driven specials. Why we make these wines, if it wasn't for wines like these, if I wasn't able to afford wine, to get really good value-driven wines, I wouldn't be able to explore the world of wine. And these wines mean a lot to me. They are something that Adrian and I take very seriously. Even though at that $20 price point you say, why would you do that? Because they mean a lot to us. And so we put a lot of hard work into these wines, why we call them the hardworking wines. We're pleased to showcase these wines to you guys today. So
these wines are a challenge to put together each and every year. They certainly get no less attention than all of our top tier single vineyard proprietary series blends, and a lot of the same overlapping vineyards find their way into these particular blends. To reinforce Mac's point, that $20 price point and under, those were very integral in us cutting our teeth on wines of the world. We both have wines in that price point that certainly resonate with us, and Mac brought up a good point earlier today. These wines are accessible for people.
You're gonna be drinking something that we put together on more tables throughout America than any other group of wines, which is another great thing for us. We love sharing what we do. We love it. We're passionate about it, and considering we both didn't come from wine royalty or a grape growing family, this is how we learned. Like he said, how we cut our teeth and how we gained a knowledge about wines from all over the world, but more importantly from California. We really wanted to work through these wines with you guys, so you guys can get a little bit of Adrian and I back and forth about how we make these. So here we are. I think let's start with these wines. Let's a little bit of high in the hog in your glass there, Chief.
Sweet cheese.
That's right. So high in the hog. This is first off, the name was a name said in my house every holiday when we had more than 3 courses on the table, if you know what I mean. My grandmother would always say we're living high in the hog, which just meant you're living your best life. This is a great moment, and we never took it for granted. High in the hog, this is really fitting for this wine because this is a wine that delivers that. It's it's our most versatile wine we make, I believe, and it's a wine that really encapsulates our house style of all of these wines up here. It's a wine that we can look at and say, this embodies what we do here. It contains multiple varieties. There's no rule on what varieties can go into this wine, and multiple vineyards, Paper Street and our estate vineyard. So it definitely has great vineyard pedigree. It showcases complexity for a wine that's just $20, which we're always excited about that. And what's your thoughts on this, Adrian?
Well, just to back it up a little bit, I love the idea and the concept of sitting around a table for a holiday meal and grandma spouting and saying we're living high in the hog right now. That's certainly a moment that resonates with all of us right now, especially with what we're going through. A time where we're not taking a lot for granted and we're really focusing on the small things. And that's a small thing, but look, stuck with you. High in the hog is always a really fun wine for us to put together.
Yeah.
It's bringing together so many different vineyards, so many different soil types, climates, varietals, and sometimes it's hard to get all those puzzle pieces to fit together because there's a lot of opposing elements. So to try to feather them in together to kind of work seamlessly is a challenge. It's a fun wine to work with. I mean, at 2,500 cases, it is a challenge for us to put together, but I think the proof is in the pudding, and the resulting product is fun.
Yeah, and back to what he was saying about the challenge of putting this wine together is, you think that if you're just left with all the components in the cellar and you say, all right, we just have this many gallons left, let's put it all together and make this wine. You can't do that. You have to blend this wine as if you were doing it like any other wine. It's not just a leftover lots of wine in the cellar. You definitely have to piece it together, and some things still don't make the cut. You know, it takes a while for us to put this wine together, and ending wine is always really, really intriguing. It showcases, you know, incredible red fruit and you know, floral components, and kind of shows off that house style of purity that we really go for. But then we weave in all this darker elements to give it, you know, to give it that richness and that yumminess that we're hoping that you guys receive in the bottle. So, all right, so now we're back to tasting the wine. It really showcases the vintage first and foremost. I mean, this is a wine that has a lot of baby fat, and there's richness, there's ripe fruits. I mean, it was a really, really extremely warm year, especially right before we picked the fruit. You know, really give the wines a bit of ripe fruit exuberance. So this wine definitely delivers that. And
when he says it was a warm vintage, that's an understatement. It was touching 115 degrees.
it was hot, okay? It was hot.
It was flat out hot, bro. 115 degrees, I mean, for a solid 2 weeks. From Paper Street Vineyard, you couldn't pick it quick enough. We harvested 80 tons from Paper Street in 2 weeks, which was essentially close to half of our harvest. And it was a mad dash. It was rip roaring.
But this wine, I mean, just smelling it, I mean, it's just floral. It's red fruits. It's, you know, there's a bit of jamminess, but not in a bad way. It shows it being a, you know, Syrah Grenache Mourvèdre heavy wine. We did blend a little bit of Petit Syrah and a little bit of Viognier.
And also Santa Barbara County was not subject to those extreme heat spikes as well. It was a little more of a temperate growing season for them down there. And so the inclusion of the Santa Barbara County fruit actually kind of played off of Paso too, and kind of helped to balance out some of that overt richness.
It was all relative to the area, right? Wow. Silky tannins. A little dark element on the end, a little dark chocolate. It's good. I mean, that wine's just, yeah, it's a no-brainer. You will be living your best life with that wine, for sure. So, Bull by the Horns. This is our Paso Cabernet Sauvignon. This is Bull by the Horns. Is our making a Bordeaux-based wine, or a Cabernet. It's really out of our wheelhouse. So when we started making a rendition of this wine, which was varieties that were outside of our wheelhouse, this was the name we gave it. It was taking on that challenge of doing something different. So it's a fitting name for it. Our goal with this wine is to, you know, produce a classic Paso Cabernet. And there's so much Paso Cabernet out there now that it's become a thing. It's its own category, and it's, you know, there's a certain profile that we want to hit in there, but we also want put our stamp on it. Being there's got to be an intensity that we like, you know, full flavor like we like to do, and there's going to be a purity. We're not looking for overtly oaky wine or cover up flaws with oak. We definitely want to showcase the fruit that we have and the purity of it. So, but to me, this is classic Paso Cabernet dialed up a bit, you know, without being over the top.
Yeah, Cabernet is not a varietal that we have a lot of experience with here. Outside of when did we start getting Cab? That was 2009 was the first vintage we started playing around with Cab.
Cabernet was 2009, yeah.
2009 with the Bull by the Horns. So we've steadily been increasing our production on Bull by the Horns. And like Mac was saying, embracing that challenge, grabbing the Bull by the Horns, taking it to McPrice Myers level of production. So we've been trying to solidify a few more holdings with our Cabernet lots here in Paso Robles, one of which is out in Creston. We're working closely with the Wardners. It's a property that we take all the fruit from. They farm it for us. Aaron Navarez of Denner Acclaim, vineyard manager at Denner, is farming that particular vineyard for us. And it's a stellar spot. How many acres?
5.5 acres.
Yeah, so.
And you know, the great thing about that vineyard is it was brand new planting, and which is huge for us because then we can control it from the beginning, you know, or at least our influence in from the beginning. It was a size that we could take all of it. So as he said, Aaron Navarez, who is our vineyard manager here as well, we're stoked to have him go over there and take over the management of that property, and it's definitely one of the cornerstone vineyards for this blend. It's out in Creston, which anybody knows, Eastside Paso, that's a sweet spot for Cabernet. A lot of great Cabernets from that area, and it's great soils, well farmed, newer clones, newer spacing, all the stuff that you would hope for. We're super pumped on that, along with other vineyards on the west side that leak into this, get into this wine as well. This wine is going to be a wine that we're going to grow with over time, but we're very happy how these wines are turning out and how this wine is turning out.
It's fun, right? I mean, it's classic cab. I mean, it's got this this chocolate mint note. It's got this black currant cassis note to it. Pleasant texture to it. A little bit of tannin, but it's Cabernet. It should have a little tannin, right?
It should have a little bit of tannin.
Not in an aggressive way, but just in a nice, let you know that, hey, you're going to come wrestle with the bull, give it the horns.
Yeah, exactly. Another wine, the tail end of the vintage, and it starts to pour really, really well. So I'm very happy with that. Yeah. So now we're on to Pound for Pound.
Freshly bottled, February.
Mm-hmm. So Pound for Pound. This is our way of saying bang for your buck, because that's what Zinfandel provides. It is an incredible value. It delivers. It's a wine that it's my guilty pleasure, and I've said that to many different people, and it's just good. It's just yummy. It's juicy. It's got loads of fruit. This is all West Side Paso, which is probably not the best way of being economic about making a Zinfandel at $20, but it is what it is. So we
that's code word for it's a screaming value.
Delicious, yeah, and it's a screaming value. A good portion of this is from Paper Street Vineyard. Takes this wine to the next level. Super stoked on the way the 18 turned out. A little bit of Petit Syrah blended in, also Mourvedre, because of course we have to do it our way. You got to blend in some Rhone in there, and there's a little bit of Syrah as well. 4% Mourvedre and 2% Syrah, so just a little bit to kind of put our twist on it. This is a textbook West Side Paso Robles Zinfandel. Like intense on the nose. It just reaches out and grabs you. It's floral. It's there's raspberry, blood orange. There's a bit of cranberry. There's these really exotic, more red fruit exoticness. This is an incredible value. As we always say, this is a no-brainer. We are very happy the way this turned out. Wow, that's really smelling good on the nose, huh?
No-brainer, for sure.
The purity is there, which is what we strive for here. It's exotic, intense. There's a lot of aromatics going on there.
It's got all that nice, warm spice though too from the wood. There's no new wood on this wine, but the barrels that we put the Zinfandel in are impactful. Second, third, fourth fill. So you get this nice kind of brown spice, cigar box, cigar wrapper, clovey kind of note to it, which plays really well with that juicy acid element that the Paper Street is just prominently.
Yeah, definitely juicy. This wine gets your mouth watering. You're going to want another glass. You're going to want to have this with, anything off the barbecue, pretty much, in my opinion. All right, well, last but not least, Old Faithful. Right Hand Man. So, Right Hand Man, this is this is the go-to. This is the workhorse.
This is the guy that you lean on.
As I'm sitting next to him. This is the guy I lean on, right here. My right-hand man, Adrian Perez. So we've been doing this wine for a while. This is definitely our most followed wine. Has the most history. We've been doing this since 2005. This is my love for Syrah, but it's making a Central Coast Syrah. So we source fruit from Santa Barbara County. Santa Barbara County provides, spice and savoriness and, I would say a little more linear, maybe not as round and plush and supple and rich, more linear, more, there's definitely more spice, savory, spicy, darker elements, some, the pepper and the olive and these some more cool climate elements. When you weave that into the stuff from Paso, which is definitely richer and more exuberant and more round, it definitely, it gives it a couple more layers, and it's fun to blend those together. So this wine is typically, a wine that we blend those two components, and we're looking for a wine that's just, it's your go-to. Put it on the table. It doesn't matter who's there, who's drinking wine. Everybody's gonna be happy, and so we, so this is our 18. We just bottled this. What was it, like a couple weeks ago?
Friday, April 3rd.
Friday, April 3rd. So this is freshly bottled.
Yeah, for me, I love every single time, every sip, every smell, just a little different Right Hand Man. You can actually pick up each individual vineyard. You can pick up Paper Street, you can pick up the estate, you can pick up Larner, you can pick up all those just kind of unique characteristics. You can pick up all those unique components of each vineyard.
Like Adrian was saying about all the different components that were blended in as you're picking them all up, they definitely add to all the layers. You're getting that savory element on the nose. You're getting that ripe fruit, cool, dark fruit, there's like a little bit of, what did we say the other day? Brownie?
We were saying
brownie batter?
Batter, yeah.
Oh
yeah,
man,
yeah.
That's exactly what I'm smelling right now. But
there's a confectionery element. There's a like a cake element.
But it never overwhelms the wine. It's just a component. There's that spice from the cool climate, a little bit of green olive, almost not tapenade, but a little bit of green olive, some grilled herbs. Keeps it. The stuff from Santa Barbara County keeps the whole wine flowing, and has a spine to it, and keeps it energized all the way to the back. Where all the Paso stuff is just all the roundness and all the keeps it very round, voluptuous, mid palate driven. It's really cool. I'm really happy how this turned out. That wine delivers.
I love seeing the progression of this wine too. From 2005, I mean, we went through some pretty aggressive tannins in 2010, 11, and even in 12. But our goal with this wine has been to kind of scale back that tannin profile and to make it a little more user-friendly, a little more approachable. Not that it doesn't have structure, it doesn't have tannin. There's underlying structure in tannin, but this is a much more pleasurable wine in its youth than perhaps 10, 11, or 12.
I think everything before 17, everything before 17 they were much more. We were kind of joking around, and we were playing around with the 17 version of Right Hand Man, and we were playing with the blend, and Adrian just kept on saying, I think it has too much tannin, and it's too structured for a $20 wine. So I went back and grabbed a 2016 version of that wine and popped it, and his eyes went, oh yeah, I totally forgot that wine was, so before this, the wines tend to be, they're definitely more structured, more intense, as far as, the structure goes, and savory qualities. We're also kind of pulling back a little bit on the whole cluster. We still have quite a bit in there, because that's our thing. We really like to have the savory elements that whole cluster brings, but we're definitely trying to make this wine a little bit more accessible, a little more pliant, a little bit more, drinkable early, because these wines are meant to drink now. Don't hold on to them. Don't age them. They'll age fine, but drink them.
What you guys are doing, you guys are buying this stuff, and we appreciate it. Super grateful for the support and the response to this special. You guys, we just put together 4 pallets of wine that went out today, and we just, we can't do what we do without what you guys do. So
yeah,
thank you for that.
Yeah, no, thanks guys. We really appreciate it, and we hope you enjoy the wines. So anyways, cheers everybody.
Can we touch?
No touching.
Cheers.
We good?
A little bit in your face.
Stop laughing, Liz. That's just wrong. It's pretty loud, huh? On the table.
Do you each want your own spit bucket?
You gotta swallow that, bro.
You guys are such dorks. I love it. I know.
What
That's
else to
good.
say?
That means a lot around here.
Well, that challenge head on with these just full Christmas. I don't know.
Christmas in April?
Christmas. I guess we can touch.
In my head, it sounds differently.
Slanty. Start talking really quick, and all the little components that are representative, that are represented.
Or you can contact your representative. Whatever you want to do. Like 65 times. Well said, Adrian.
You're welcome, Liz.